development. In this scenario, students will have access to their payment status and a record of their courses. Additionally, they will also be able to access the following features: announcement and academic calendar, relevant information that can easily be accessed from WhatsApp and students' email, easy payment because it has implemented cash and card payment processor or 2C2P technology. Another facility MyUT offers is that students can directly enter online tutorial pages, webinar tutorials, and practicum practices without signing into their respective applications. Likewise, with other services such as registration, teaching materials, examinations, student activities, and graduation, students only need to select the desired services and will automatically enter the desired application. It is also equipped with a chatbot feature to make it easier for students to support their learning process. MyUT also offers other benefits to UT students, including assistance to students in finding exam locations through the Examination Participant Card feature, which seamlessly integrates with exam location maps specific to each UT regional office. The website-based and mobile-based MyUT make it easier for students to get services anywhere and anytime.
The Asian Association of Open University proudly present the Book of Open and Distant Education in Asia. Good practices from AAOU members. This book was collaboratively written by 8 members of AAOU. Korea National Open University, Open University Malaysia, Sukhothai Thammasat Open University, the Open University of China, the Open University of Japan, the Open University of Sri Lanka, University of the Philippines Open University, and Universitas Terbuka.
The Asian community has long placed a high value on education. Education has always been seen as the catalyst for social welfare, upward social mobility, as well as human well-being. And nowadays, Asia has emerged as the major distance education providers as well as beneficiaries.
Dear colleagues, this book of Open and Distant Education, or ODE in Asia, is an important contribution from AAOU members and dedicated to the global ODA field. It will be continued in subsequent series and is anticipated to enrich references to ODE practices.
to the Asian Association Open Universities Conference at Allama Iqbal Open University. Pakistan is a land of rich panorama. It has marvelous diversity in culture. Stunning Himalayas and gushing waters constitute the geographic splendor of the land. Islamabad is one such place of beauty, and the Allama Iqbal Open University is located at the heart of the city. The Allama Iqbal Open University was founded in 1974 to open fresh avenues in the lives of people through distance education. Only in a couple of decades, the globe became a replica of the system. Today, open universities operate in the world. Being a pioneer institution in Asia, the Allama Iqbal Open University hosted the Asian Association Open Universities Conference. And now we earnestly prepare to wish all of you a warm welcome again. Every possible measure is being taken to make the international event constructive and comfortable. The conference website has been developed to facilitate registration, queries, and contact. Wi-Fi system is available in the campus for continuous communications. Central Library and Digital Library services will also be available for consultation and reference. To make your stay more comfortable, arrangements are being made in the hotels of international chains. You will be served with a variety of foods, especially the Oriental foods, with a blend of spices that will add to your taste. Visits to sites of cultural heritage would make a part of exciting tourism. Domestic handicrafts and products will be your shopping content for family and friends. The Allama Iqbal Open University is making all-out efforts to groom technology-oriented human resource through information and communication technology. Electronic and cyber communication formats are applied in teaching methodology. High-tech electronic software is produced in the Institute of Education Technology. These radio and television programs support the academic content of the university courses. The Center for Instructional Design has recently been established to develop electronic courseware for various programs. The student-centered arrangements also include campus radio, online learning, and educational television. Print materials like books, study guides sent by mail, tutorial instructions, face-to-face sessions in clusters of sciences in laboratories, group training workshops, faculties, and academic program. 35 academic departments of 4 faculties offer 104 programs of studies ranging from secondary level programs to research-based M.Phil and Ph.D. programs. The Allama Iqbal Open University ranks among mega universities in the world. We firmly believe in sharing experiences to innovate new structures in distance education. Together, we can enrich the existing practices and explore viable possibilities in education of technology, engineering, agriculture, and medical sciences in open distance learning framework.
The development of technology and information, Universitas Terbuka provides the best services for its students. MPD presents one of the superior applications called MyUT. MyUT application is here to make it easier for students to get various information related to learning processes. MyUT application has implemented single sign-on technology, or SSO. This application is an authentication service system to assist students in signing into a site or application. With this new system, students only need to sign in with an Office 365 account to enter various applications at once. Students can see personal dashboards through MyUT, including student data and academic development. In this scenario, students will have access to their payment status and a record of their courses. Additionally, they will also be able to access the following features: announcement and academic calendar, relevant information that can easily be accessed from WhatsApp and students' email, easy payment because it has implemented cash and card payment processor or 2C2P technology. Another facility MyUT offers is that students can directly enter online tutorial pages, webinar tutorials, and practicum practices without signing into their respective applications. Likewise, with other services such as registration, teaching materials, examinations, student activities, and graduation, students only need to select the desired services and will automatically enter the desired application. It is also equipped with a chatbot feature to make it easier for students to support their learning process. MyUT also offers other benefits to UT students, including assistance to students in finding exam locations through the Examination Participant Card feature, which seamlessly integrates with exam location maps specific to each UT regional office. The website
itu masih itu dekat biasa berkaitan. A very good morning from Jakarta, Indonesia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. From the Secretariat of AAOU, we would like to extend our warmest regards to our speakers today, moderators, and also the most important thing is to the President of the AAOU, Professor Ojat Darojat. And also, the warmest regards also goes to our participants coming from Indonesia, from the list, and then from the names also, I can see that we have participants from Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, also from Pakistan, and we are still waiting for participants from every single corner of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last two sessions, we have covered two research methods, quantitative research method, qualitative research method, and now we will be talking about mixed method research. And we are very convinced that this session, together with the previous session, will be beneficial for all of us, particularly for those who are in the middle of doing research. And we are very fortunate today. We have two speakers who are very expert in their own field. But before we continue listening to the keynote speaker, I would like to invite the President of the AAOU, Professor Ajat Darujat, M.Bus PhD, to deliver the welcoming remarks. The President, the screen, and mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Rahmat. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the AAOU Lecture Series 2024. Today, we are having the sixth episode of the lecture series. Time flies, and we are already halfway through the whole journey. As always, I would like to emphasize that AAOU aims to share and provide unlimited insights and knowledge in the educational context, particularly on open and distance learning. The lecture series is exceptionally beneficial for university students, both who are starting to get familiar with writing academic paper, or those who are still unsure about its essence. In this past two meeting, we have come deeper into the discussion of the types of research methods. Therefore, today, we are diving through a methodology that harmoniously blends qualitative and quantitative approaches to provide a richer, complex phenomena called mixed methods. Very interesting, isn't it? And in these occasions, we are also privileged to have exceptional speakers who will share their expertise and insight on the sessions. Please welcome our first keynote speaker, Dr. Joane Serrano from University of the Philippines Open University, UPOU. Good morning, Dr. Joane. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And it is a pleasure to meet you in this morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ajat.
Thank you. Next, please also welcome our second keynote speaker, Dr. Nguyen Hoang. Sorry if I'm not proper spelling your name. From Ho Chi Minh City Open University. Hello, Dr. Sinh. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Nice to see you in this morning. And last but not least, we have the one who's going to be in charge for today's lecture. Our moderator, please welcome Mrs. Hidayah from Universitas Terbuka UT Indonesia.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Hidayah, for accepting our invitation. We trust you to hold this lecture smooth and fruitful and also productive. And dearest participants, thank you for continuously joining our lecture, and we are more than happy to provide you with invaluable insight from our program and activities. I would like to remind you all to please be actively engaged in these sessions because knowledge is power, but enthusiasm pulls up the sweat. Stay invaluable knowledge might lie at the very edge of the lecture. I hope you all find inspirations and practical insight that will resonate long to your needs after today's session concludes. Thank you very much, and don't forget to keep your drinks and snacks around. Enjoy the lecture. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our moderator today. As Professor Ojat mentioned, our moderator today is Ms. Hidayah from Universitas Terbuka. And then please allow me to read her brief CV. Yeah, Ms. Hidayah, S.Pd, M.Pd, currently serve as a lecturer at the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training, Universitas Terbuka Indonesia, focusing on English education program and also the staff of the Rector's Office in Institutional Relation. She received a bachelor degree in English education from Setiabudi University Indonesia before pursuing her master degree in English education at Hoang, Jakarta. She was the first winner of the storytelling competition for teachers, and she is also a trainer for primary education teachers in differentiated learning. We are sure that there are some more achievements Ms. Hidayah has achieved, but due to our limited time, I would like to hand over the screen and mic to Ms. Hidayah. Ms. Hidayah, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahmat Budiman, for your warm and pleasant welcome to me. As Dr. Rahmat mentioned that my name is Hidayah. I'm from Universitas Terbuka Indonesia. I'm a lecturer of the Faculty of Education and Teacher Training of Universitas Terbuka. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, because our time is not different and it's our place is okay. It's a great honor for me to be a moderator of this academic webinar event of AAOU Lecture Series, a roadmap to successful publication, which the theme is mixed method research. Before we listen to the presentation from our speakers, I will read the regulation first. So, okay. While we are continue this meeting, before you ask your question, send your question in the following format. You have to give your name, your institution or country, and to the speaker one or the speaker two. Like the example given, Adam from UT for Dr. Nguyen, for example. Okay. Number two, before the speaker answer the question will be read in advance by moderator once it is displayed on the screen, and the speaker may answer afterwards. After that, the request is of getting the certificate. First, filling out the registration form in advance. Second, following the whole program. And last, filling out the feedback form. All right. Now, I will read the biography of our first speaker. Okay, now, okay. Our first speaker is Professor Dr. Joane Serrano. Professor Joane Serrano, Ph.D., is a professor and the current Dean of the Faculty of Management and Development Studies, University of the Philippines Open University, PUU. Prior to
Recording in progress.
her appointment as a dean Faculty of Management Department Studies. She served as the director of the Office of Public Affairs. She is also the director on the Multimedia Center, director of the Office on Gender Concern, and the secretary of the Faculty of Management Department Studies. She has a wide array of research interests, including sustainability, sociocultural perspectives on the environment, development and environmental communication, health promotion, gender, and indigenous knowledge, experiential learning, and open distance learning, OGL. She is currently the editor and in chief of the University of Philippines Open University, managed journal, the Journal of Management and Development Studies. She also part of transdisciplinary research network called One by working with involved in experimenting research methodologies related to working. All right then, without further ado, we welcome for our first speaker, Dr. Joane Serrano. Please, the screen time is yours.
Thank you very much, Miss Hidayah. Allow me first to share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen now. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to those who are in different time zone. Today, I'll be sharing about mixed methods research, focusing on the philosophical assumption of mixed methods. I would like to say good morning to Dr. Ojet Dahorat, AAOU President, and Dr. Ramat Budiman. Pleasant morning, sirs. The aim of this presentation is to explain what mixed methods research is. And this will be the outline of this presentation. Okay. So just a quick background about me. The majority of my current research initiatives right now focus on sustainability, a field that is inherently interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary in nature. And these studies would benefit greatly from employing mixed methods research approaches, as they allow for a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of complex sustainability issues. Recently, I attended a presentation on global carbon emissions that left me with mixed feelings. The slides were a kaleidoscope of colorful charts and graphs, showcasing data from numerous countries and countless businesses. While the sheer scale of information was impressive, I found myself struggling to connect with the core message. The presentation clearly showed the magnitude of carbon emissions. However, it failed to answer crucial questions that would have made the data more relatable and impactful. Who are these companies contributing to global warming? Were they aware of their environmental impact? What steps, if any, were they taking to address their carbon footprint? As I sat there, surrounded by numbers and statistics, I realized what was missing: the human element. The presentation lacked the stories that we, as humans, instinctively crave and understand. And it's through narratives that we make sense of complex information and find meaning in data. Imagine if the presentation had included stories of ordinary people affected by carbon emissions and global warming. Perhaps a farmer in Leyte, Philippines, grappling with rising sea levels, or an asthmatic child in a smog-filled city. These personal accounts would have provided what ethnographers call the emic perspective, or the insider's view that brings data to life. The quantitative research presented was undoubtedly valuable in showing the scale and causation of carbon emissions. However, it fell short in providing a coherent picture that the audience could easily grasp and remember. How did the employees of these companies feel about their organization's carbon footprint? What unexpected challenges did they face in trying to reduce emissions? By incorporating these human elements, the presentation could have bridged the gap between cold, hard facts and relatable, memorable stories. This approach would have not only made the information more digestible, but also more likely to inspire action. Complex research areas like climate change would benefit from mixed methods research. Although numbers provide the foundation, it's the stories that build understanding and motivate change. Mixing quantitative data with compelling qualitative data is key to effectively communicating complex issues and inspiring meaningful action. Now, according to Creswell and Garrett in 2008, the recent demand for a mixed methods approach stemmed from concerns about the inability of the traditional individual qualitative and quantitative research paradigms to offer workable solutions to the increasingly complex and dynamic problems confronting society and the world at large. The emergence of mixed methods research provided an alternative to the mono methods, which had been reported as being non-responsive to the ever-increasingly complex and multifaceted challenges confronting humanity. Complexity and diversity of contemporary research problems appear to be the most cited factors influencing the perpetuation of mixed methods research. However, it is important to note as early as now that this is a challenging task, not just because of practical concerns, but also because of the difference in the philosophical assumptions of both research methodologies. So what is mixed methods research? Mixed methods strategically integrate or combine rigorous quantitative and qualitative research methods to draw on the strengths of each method. Mixed methods is a research design with philosophical assumptions as well as methods of inquiry. As a methodology, it involves philosophical assumptions that guide the direction of and the collection as well as the analysis of data and a mixture of quantitative and qualitative approaches in many phases of the research process. The whole idea is that by combining both statistical trends and stories, which provides a better understanding of the problem than either trends or stories alone. Mixed methods research is defined as a type of research in which the researcher or team of researchers combine elements of qualitative and quantitative research approaches, for example, viewpoints, data collection, analysis, inference, and techniques, for the broad purposes of breadth and depth of understanding and corroboration. Mixed method research design offers deep and potentially inspirational and catalytic opportunities to meaningfully engage with the differences that matter in today's troubled world. And mixed method research is particularly valuable when dealing with complex research questions wherein numerical data alone might not capture the full picture, or where personal complex experiences and narratives are just as important as statistical trends. Now, according to Creswell, there are 4 key features of mixed methods. First is collecting and analyzing qualitative and quantitative data, both open and close-ended, in response to research questions. Second, it uses rigorous qualitative and quantitative methods. Third, combine or integrate qualitative and quantitative data using specific types of mixed methods design. And fourth, framing the mixed methods design within a broader framework. Now, maybe it would be helpful to discuss first what is not mixed methods. So you cannot say that a research design is mixed method if you are simply using the name without the rigorous methods, or just having both quantitative and qualitative data available, or probably just collecting and reporting quantitative and qualitative data separately without combining them. Or maybe you're just using multiple quantitative approaches. For example, you use experiment, then you use survey, or multiple qualitative approaches wherein you use interviews and observations. So we have a term for that in the literature, and it is called multi-method research. Now, let us review the essential characteristics of qualitative and quantitative research to understand why mixed methods research is not that easy. We have to remember that these two approaches have different philosophical assumptions about ways of knowing or about how knowledge is created, or what we refer to as epistemology, and even more fundamentally about what is reality itself, or ontology. Now, the epistemological and ontological differences of these two approaches is what drives the raised eyebrows of many scholars. Because this is not simply about mixing methods, but about opposing views on reality. And we fail to mix methods because we are using fundamentally different assumptions about what is even real. Now, in this slide, let's just review some of the pros and cons of quantitative methods. For example, in quantitative methods, you're able to draw conclusions for a large number of people, but one of its limitations is that it's very impersonal and quite dry. And in qualitative research, of course, one of its main strengths is that it's able to provide or we can hear voices of the participants and understand the participants' experiences and context. But of course, in qualitative research, we're limited in terms of generalizability, and it's highly interpretive. Now, in this table, let's examine further the differences among quantitative methods, qualitative methods, and mixed methods. So in quantitative methods, we have a priori assumptions. So assumptions are predetermined. And we usually use various statistical analysis and interpretation. And in qualitative, it's an emerging method. And we are after the themes, we're looking for patterns. And we usually do in-depth interpretation. So in quantitative, we combine both quantitative methods and qualitative methods. You can do both open and closed-ended questions, and you can even do both statistical analysis and text analysis. Now, just a quick review. This figure illustrates the philosophical underpinnings of a mixed method design involving quantitative and qualitative methodologies. So the figure shows 4 philosophical assumptions. We talk about the philosophical assumptions of research paradigms. So from the positivist and interpretivist. So this is in terms of epistemology, or how researchers know what they know, or what we call the ways of knowing. So we have from the objectivist point of view, there's our objective point of view. And from the interpretivist, these are subjective point of view. And then we talk about ontological assumption, or the nature of reality. So those from the positivist paradigm would view reality as a singular reality that can be discovered and comprehended. While for the interpretivist, constructivist paradigm, they believe that there are multiple realities and that realities are socially constructed. Now we talk about axiology, or the place of values in research. So from the positivist view, research is value-free, while from the interpretivist view, research is value-laden. And methodology, or the process of research, we have the quantitative, which follows deductive reasoning, and the qualitative research, which follows inductive reasoning. Now, many scholars argue that the researcher's philosophical underpinnings are fundamental in determining the research design, the main research questions, and subsequently the chosen methodology. As such, making such philosophical assumptions in mixed methods research remains of great importance to the selection of research design that transcends epistemological and ontological barriers by combining either or a combination of what we call inductive, deductive, abductive, and retroductive research inferences. So in line with the philosophical underpinnings, the researcher is able to select the research methodology and data collection methods which are consistent with the elements of mixed methods research. So what constitutes rigor when we talk of mixed method? So it is important that before we mix methods, we understand clearly what constitutes rigor in quantitative research and in qualitative research. Rigor means clearly identifying the research design. So in quantitative, this can be experiment, this can be a correlation, or this can be a survey. And in qualitative, this can be ethnography or grounded theory or phenomenological study. And we also have to attend to how we collect the data, as well as the sites, the permissions, and then, of course, systematic sampling for quantitative or purposeful sampling for qualitative. And then we need to have multiple forms of data collection. We need to go through a rigorous procedure of analysis of information, whether it's statistical analysis, such as descriptive, inferential, using statistical packages, or on the qualitative side, whether it's using qualitative software packages or just manually building codes to the themes. What is important is in both methods, you are clearly practicing rigorous methods. So the question now is, why do we mix methods? First is for practical reasons. According to Ladner, the typical practical reasons why a researcher might choose to mix methods include the following. So first, time does not permit in-depth qualitative research, or time does not permit in-depth quantitative research, or negotiating access to participants is quite challenging, or finding a large data set is challenging. Second, there are also conceptual reasons for mixing methods, and this is beyond mere practicalities. So Breiman, in his summary of mixed methods, he outlined 5 methodological reasons for mixing methods. First is complementary, to deepen or enhance other data. Second, expansion, expanding the inquiry to ask different questions. Third, development, using one method to inform and improve the other. And fourth is triangulation or corroboration of earlier data. And fifth is initiation or resolving earlier contradictory findings. And in his review of mixed methods literature, Breiman noted that a surprisingly large number of studies did not mention why they chose mixed methods at all. And he cautions strongly that researchers who do not state a methodological reason for mixing state and ultimately undermining the quality of the insights uncovered. So what Breiman is suggesting, that when you're doing a mixed methods research, it should be clearly articulated why you are doing the mixed method research. And aside from practicalities and methodological considerations, philosophical assumptions play a significant role in the selection of methods for executing research projects. In fact, philosophical assumptions also have a significant influence on the methodological approaches of research and the processes and methods of data collection adapted for the research. So when we talk of mixed method research, we combine paradigms that allow investigation from inductive and deductive perspectives. So based on literature, there are a number of these paradigms, but let me just present two major philosophical positions in which mixed methods research might be grounded. And these are pragmatism and critical realism. Scholars doing mixed methods research acknowledge that pragmatism is the most appropriate philosophical stance for investigating phenomena consisting of numerical and non-numerical elements. As a philosophy, it is regarded as being the best fit for conducting research into complex human phenomena. And this is by employing mixed research methodologies. Fundamentally, the philosophy embodies two distinct research paradigms, so qualitative interpretivism and quantitative positivism. The pragmatic paradigm provides the flexibility for researchers to adapt multiple research methods with the objective of finding solutions to research questions. So central to the philosophy of pragmatism is its ability to refute the paradigm debate of, the quantitative and qualitative positions which has existed for decades by drawing on their respective strengths. So again, the focus of pragmatism is on the research questions. Now, Morgan in 2007 noted that such defining features of pragmatism provide the foundation for researchers to undertake investigations with what are traditionally regarded as being incompatible and conflicting paradigms. So Panseri in 2005, he argued that pragmatic philosophy provides a useful middle ground for combining different types of research approaches into a single workable framework. And the emphasis is on addressing practical research problem that work instead of focusing on the ideology of a particular approach. A pragmatic philosophical orientation places research problems at the center of investigation. And various authors have identified pragmatism as the philosophical partner of mixed methods research that draws its strength from both the objective and subjective perspectives of knowledge generation. And there are some authors who believe that the essence of adapting the pragmatic research paradigm is that it offers an explicitly offers knowledge-oriented and practical approach to the examination of a phenomenon. And Morgan further said that while the traditional individual quantitative and qualitative methodologies emphasize deductive or inductive logic to knowledge generation, the pragmatic research paradigm actually goes a step further by providing a middle ground, and this is called abductive approach. And by so doing, it rejects the barriers perceived to be between the traditional qualitative and quantitative methodologies. So Morgan defined abductive approach as, in the context of mixed methods research design, it involves a process of reasoning that starts with an incomplete set of observations and proceeds to the likeliest possible explanation for the observations. So here's a breakdown of the abductive approach according to Morgan. So it's a middle ground between deduction and induction. Abduction is positioned between deductive and inductive approaches. And while deduction starts with a theory and looks for evidence to confirm it, and induction starts with observation and builds a theory from them, abduction involves starting with surprising or puzzling observation and seeking the best possible explanation. And the focus here is on plausibility. The goal is not really to find the definitive proof, but to arrive at a plausible explanation that can make sense of the observation. And this makes it particularly useful in exploratory phases of research or in situations where data does not easily fit into existing theories. And it follows an iterative process. The abductive approach is often iterative, which means it involves back and forth movement between theory and data. And this can lead to the refinement of both the theory and the understanding of the data. And Morgan suggested that abduction is particularly useful in mixed methods research because it allows researchers to integrate quantitative and qualitative data by moving between the two types of data to develop a more comprehensive explanation. So in summary, the abductive approach is about finding the most likely explanation for observations that are not easily explained by existing theories, making it a valuable tool in mixed methods research for theory development and integration. And let's talk about the second philosophical assumption for mixed method, and this is critical realism. Critical realism philosophical stance, it underscores the existence of one reality which can be known from various perspectives. It is supported by what they call retroductive reasoning logic, which ensures that an individual reasons backwards in terms of making sense of the underlying causes of an experience long after the events associated with that experience. So the retroductive approach, as explained by Saunders et al., is a reasoning process used to identify the underlying mechanisms of structures that could explain observed phenomena. So it is particularly associated again with critical realism. So when we talk of retroductive approach, we talk about identification of underlying mechanisms. So it involves moving beyond the surface level observations to hypothesize about the deeper structures or mechanism that cause these observations. It's not just about describing what is happening, but about explaining why it happens by uncovering hidden causal mechanism. Reasoning from effect to cause, in contrast to deduction, which reasons from cause to effect, and induction, which reasons from specific cases to general principles. Retroduction starts with unobserved effect and works backward to hypothesize what must be true in order to generate the effect. And it is, again, associated or closely linked with mixed method research. Retroduction is used to infer the existence of entities or structure that are not directly observable but are posited to explain observable phenomena. And again, just like the pragmatism, it involves iterative process wherein the researcher can continually refine their hypothesis about underlying mechanism as they gather more data and refine their understanding. And it is also highly applicable in mixed methods research because it allows for the combination of quantitative data, which might show patterns or relationships, with qualitative data, which can also help to explore and understand the underlying mechanisms. So in summary, the retroductive approach is about reasoning backwards from observed outcome to hypothesize about the hidden structures or mechanisms that cause them. It is a key approach and critical realism and is particularly useful in mixed methods research for developing deeper explanation of observed phenomena. Now, just to give a quick ways to mix methods, So these diagrams show how to mix both data types and philosophical assumptions, and each design has different impacts. So for example, you merge data, uh, the quantitative and qualitative data, which are collected simultaneously but analyzed separately, and the results are merged or integrated. And this type of design allows for the collection of rich, detailed data and provides a comprehensive understanding of the research problem. And they should have sampling from the same database. Ideally, there should be the same sample size, but not always. Size could be unequal, but they should be from the same database. Um, However, according to some authors, merging data is perhaps the most challenging because of I've explained earlier of the contrasting philosophical assumptions that are merged. So you will need to plan this out from starting from the analysis and interpretation phase. The second diagram shows how data is connected. For example, a sequential design. In this type of mixed methods design, the aim is to use the results of one method to develop albeit another method. And this design may begin with a qualitative method followed by a quantitative method. We call this exploratory sequential design, or a quantitative investigation followed up with a qualitative inquiry, or what we call as explanatory sequential design. In the exploratory sequential design, the technique involves the initial collection of qualitative data, and the findings are used to guide the design and development of quantitative data collection tools. The quantitative and qualitative data results are then integrated to provide a more comprehensive understanding of the phenomenon. And this method is useful when developing and testing, for example, a new instrument or a tool. So again, you can have an equal size, but of course, again, from same database. In the explanatory sequential design, the method is characterized by the collection and analysis of quantitative data, followed by the collection and analysis of qualitative data. The goal is to use the qualitative findings to explain and interpret the quantitative results, and can have different samples but same population. And of course, you can also embed data. Embedded design, also known as the nested design, it involves embedding one research design into another to generate new insights. It can be both convergent or sequential. As an illustration, this technique could embed qualitative research within a broader quantitative data or study, or the quantitative study is used to offer a larger understanding of the research problem, whereas the qualitative study provides a more in-depth understanding of specific parts of the research topic. Okay, so, and then just to show you the general steps for conducting mixed methods research, while there are no hard and fast rules for designing a mixed method study, these general steps should provide some guidance, especially for researchers who are new to mixed methods research. So this may vary depending on how you're approaching your mixed method research, but this is the general steps for conducting the mixed method. Okay, so I'm nearing my time, but in conclusion, mixed methods research design has gained significant prominence, particularly in tackling complex and nuanced research problems. And while criticisms exist, evidence consistently shows that relying solely on a single research method is often insufficient for exploring multifaceted issues. And as a result, mixed methods research has rightfully earned its place as they call it the third path, offering a balanced and comprehensive approach that bridges the gap between quantitative and qualitative methodologies. Okay, so I think I beat the 30-minute limit. So thank you everyone for listening.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Joane, for your insightful presentation. I think that's really important for us to navigate our education research. Actually, it's really on time that you spend 30 minutes for your presentation, right? Okay. Before I move to second speaker, I will read the regulation again. So I will remind to all the participants during the seminar, you have to pay attention that before you ask your question, you have to type your name, your institution, your country, like the example, Adam from UT for Dr. Nguyen or Dr. Joane for first speaker or second speaker. Next, before the speaker answers the question will be read in advance by the moderator once it is displayed on screen, and the speaker may answer afterward. The process of getting the certificate, you have to fill out the registration form advance, following the whole programs and filling out the feedback form. Now, without further ado, I will read the curriculum vitae of our second speaker, Dr. Nguyen Hoang. All right, thank you. Dr. Nguyen Hoang is he got a PhD in marketing from the University of Wellington, New Zealand on 2018. So he graduated certificate in theater teaching, Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, Open University in 2010. She got a Master of Art in Marketing, Curtin University, Australia in 2007 and 1997. She has a Bachelor in Business Administration, Dr. Nang University Academic, Vietnam, Graduate Certificate in Tertiary Teaching, Vietnam National University. From 2020 until present time, attending School of Business Administration on Ho Chi Minh City Open University. His research interest is advertising appeals, emotional message, communication effect, pro-social, and health behavior. So there are more than 30 publications that he made, consisting of peer-reviewed journal, book chapters, conference, proceedings, and so many more. His research supervision, master, 18 graduates and 4 ongoing, PhD, 3 ongoing. Affiliation and activities, she's a trainer on digital marketing strategy. She is also visiting lecturer in University of Economic, University of Social Science and Humanities, Ho Chi Minh City University and of Technology, and she also consultant at the strategic partner, providing services in public relations and marketing communication for about Coca-Cola, Samsung, and etc. If we read all all the curriculum vitae of Dr. Nguyen Hoang, it will take a couple days, maybe. So many. Okay, without further ado, Let's welcome Dr. Nguyen Hoang Sinh. The time and screen is yours. Please, Dr. Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Can I pronounce your name? Hi, Daza. Thank you for your introduction. Welcome to my lecture. Let me share my screen.
Okay, you have 30 minutes.
Everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As you can see, I am Nguyen Hoang Sinh, acting dean of the School of Business Administration at Ho Chi Minh City Open University from Vietnam. Hello from Vietnam. Xin chào. Today, I am honored to present a short lecture using an experiment to examine effects of the emotion separately, guilt and shame under the interaction of the emotional appeal, referencing, and evaluation source. Actually, this lecture is based on my case study published in SHADE Research Methods in Business, SHADE publication in 2024. The title is the Using an Experiment and Survey to Examine Guilt and Shame Separately via Distinct Emotional Arousal of Guilt versus Shame under Moderating Effects, Part 1, the case of self-control. The primary aim of this lecture is to provide you insight into designing a 2x2x2 factorial experiment to analyze the effect of the emotional messages in health communication. Specifically, we explore how guilt and shame appeals can be moderated by factors such as self-control, references, and evaluation source. By the end of each lecture, you should have a clear understanding of how to effectively utilize factorial design in experiment research. For the literature review, health behavior change is the crucial area of study, given the global burden of the preventable disease and death. In the context of the self-concept emotions like guilt and shame, health communications differ from this, the context such as pro-social or charitable donation. Why? The latter involve motivating people for the benefit of the other. Health communications focus on stimulating people for the benefit of themselves. As you can see, two examples for guilt appeal and shame appeal in the screen. For the pro-social or donation, focus on the benefit of the other for the donation, right? But for the health, the behaviors changed for the people. They want to get the benefit of individuals. Why this difference? Yeah, it can lead to variation in how guilt and shame appeal are received and act upon. So guilt and shame appeal may behave differently due to the interaction of self-concept emotion, guilt and shame, and personal significant context in health communication. As you can see, in health communication, people involved in the benefit of themselves. In this case, we tested a theoretical model to understand how guilt and shame appeal might lead to better compliance with health messages. We examined the interactive effect of dual moderating factor, referencing, and evaluation source with self-control to better predict the effectiveness of guilt and shame appeal. To do so, here the methods. The study utilized a 2x2x2 between subjects factorial experiment with the control group. We examined the interactive effect of the, as you can see, three manipulated variable, emotional appeal, guilt versus shame, referencing, self-reference versus other reference, and evaluation sort, internal versus externals. The experiments include 8, as you can see, 8 cells in the screen, includes 8 treatment groups along with the control group. Participants randomly assigned to each treatment group which they receive a manipulated, here 8 manipulated ads, advertisement, or the control group which they receive no advertisement. In the main experiments, 301 participants, from 18 to 30 years, 41% male and 59% female. Now, I tell you how to develop the stimuli. Here, stimulus material actually the 8 advertisement. The stimulus is targets the binge drinking prevention, focus on the message, train responsibility. To manipulate emotional appeal, the process began by identifying the emotion to be aroused, either guilt or shame, and creating a message based on the corresponding approachal pattern. For example, for guilt, the focus was on the behavior, while shame focused on the self. 2 templates as advertisements were created. It incorporating different type of the references and evaluation source. For example, a self-reference will appeal would reference the receiver behavior, as you can see in this screen, while other reference same appeal would focus on the other perception. If here, self-reference, other reference, internal source, external source, as were developed, varying in the self-referencing or other referencing, and internal or external evaluation sources. There is were identical in content, right? Content and design, but different only in the manipulation section to avoid the confounding effect. So you can see the structure of the advertisement includes text component here, text component, and the illustration. For the text, the headline, here the headline emphasize the expected emotional arousal. For example, here, guilt and shame, guilt moment of life, shameful moment of life. The body provide the manipulation, and the tagline, the taglines deliver the key message, the drink responsibly. The image used depicted a person vomiting in the toilet, borrowed from the previous study. A gender-specific version for male using male picture, female for female picture participant. To ensure the effectiveness of their stimuli, before you conduct the main experiment, you need to do pretest with the participant not involved in the main experiment. For the pretest, a total of 261 respondents participants in this pretest. The pretest evaluates the effectiveness of the emotional appeal, guilt and shame appeal, right? And referencing include self-reference, auto-reference, and evaluation source include internal and external source manipulation. The results show significant differences in emotional focus, referencing, and evaluation source. So that's confirmed the manipulations were successful. As you can see in the slide, right? For the emotional appeal, participants rate the focus of guilt versus shame appeal, with guilt significantly more focused on the behavior. The mean here 3.6 versus the mean for shame 4.18. And similarly, the referencing manipulation show the significant difference between self-reference and other reference appeal. The same, the evaluation sort manipulation were affected too, with significant difference between internal and external evaluation sources. In main experiments, we check the manipulations. The manipulation check reveals significant difference in emotional appeal, referencing, and source of evaluation too. But in the main experiment with the 301 participants, there are the significant difference in emotional arousal between the treatment group, right, with the control group. The mean score for the treat group were higher than those of the control group for both guilt and shame appeal. As you can see here in the slide, the score for for guilt are 3.09, higher than value of control group, here 1.97. Similarly, the value for shame appeal 304 here, higher than control group value 2.29. So the findings indicate that the manipulation check were successful. So the check manipulation successfully, then we move on to the main study to test the hypothesis or the model. Here, the results in the main study, we investigated the main effect of the self-control and type of emotional appeal on guilt and shame emotional arousal. The result reveals a significant difference in the guilt arousal between individual with independent versus interdependent self-control in the red color, as you can see in the screen. However, there is no significant difference in the same arousal between this group. It means independent self-control and interdependent self-control. Shame arousal not differ in shame arousal. So the study found that the self-control, right? Self-control have no interactive effect with referencing or evaluation source on view and shame arousal. At the second, in the second table, as you can see, the interaction effect of the self-control with the referencing and evaluation source have no significance. So, in summary, the finding is self-control moderate the view and shame arousal from respective emotional appeal, view and shame appeal, but does not interact with the referencing and evaluation sources. Interestingly, there is also no significant differential effect of the view versus shame arousal on magic complex. Actually, this is the case study not only on the research method, but also contribute to the literature. This research contribute to the literature on the health communication and emotions by probing the differential effect of view versus shame appeal. It also provide the implication for the practitioner who can use this understanding to develop more effective health communication campaign tailored to specific emotional responses. Here, need to focus on the youth rather than shame. And audience characteristic. Here, the attribute of the receiver, independent versus interdependent self-control. That is the end my lecture. Thank you for your attention. Very short, and I am happy to take any question you may have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Nguyen Hoang, for your bright presentation for us. Now, we have so many questions for first speaker and second speaker. And for the first question is, please. Okay. To Dr. Joane from Muhammad Shehzad, Pakistan. The first question is, what role does theory play in guiding the use of mixed method in your research? And the second question is, what future trends do you foresee in mixed method research and how might they impact your field?
Thank you for the question. As I have comprehensively explained earlier about the various philosophical assumptions, theory plays a very important role in the use of mixed methods research. It is important that in deciding if a researcher will be using a mixed method, it's important that certain theories are aligned with the philosophical assumption of mixed method research. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we are combining here two different and contrasting philosophical assumptions. So we talk about the interpretivist and the positivist ontological assumption. So in mixed methods research, it's important that a particular theory should be selected that is aligned with the assumptions in terms of how to use mixed methods. So I've shared some of the pragmatism, critical realism, philosophical stance that many scholars are saying are aligned with the mixed method research. And I see in the beginning of my presentation, I have shared how valuable mixed method research will be, especially in complex and nuanced issues and problems. And this is what our future looks like. So we talk about climate change, we talk about issues that are very complex, and they cannot, many scholars are saying they cannot be answered by simple quantitative or qualitative research. And there is now a need for researchers to delve into mixed methods research to better understand the complex and nuanced problems that we are experiencing now. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad.
Okay, the question from Muhammad Sadat, Pakistan, it's already gave a clear explanation from Dr. Joane. Thank you very much, Dr. Joane. Now, we move to the second question. Please. Okay. From Wawan, from Indonesia, the question is directed to Dr. Nguyen. Question is, what steps should we take if we want to combine experimental research with qualitative research, as we have already described? Please, Dr. Nguyen.
Yes, thank you for your question. As you can see, my lecture based on the chapter published in the SET research method in business online. I mentioned here using the experiments and a survey. So two methods to collect the data here belong to quantitative research, not qualitative research. So in my case, share with you, don't mention or don't combine quantitative and qualitative into one research. As the Dr. Joane mentioned the mixed method. Actually, here I show my use case about collecting the quantitative data using experiment only. So sorry for that. Don't provide enough case or real execution carry out a mixed methods to that question.
Okay, thank you very much for the explanation, Dr. Nguyen. I think it's clear enough explanation for you, which is had answered question from Wawan Indonesia. Now we move to the third. Okay. To both speaker from Budi, Universitas Terbuka Indonesia. Budi said that I'm developing a research proposal for my PhD degree. Here is the data collection. This data collection is closed-ended questionnaire with 5 options of Likert scale, more than 250 samples. Interview with 20 participants. When analyzing the data, I quantify the interview data. The question is, my research mix or it's not clear here from my. Okay.
I got the point. I got the point.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, the question is quite clear. So I think the first presenter, Dr. Joane, can address that question. I think so. The
Thank
question
you,
is,
Dr.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. Yeah. Well, on the onset, it can be a mixed method. It can be sequential, explanatory sequential design wherein you collect quantitative data first and then you interview a set of participants. But I cannot really say unless we'll be able to see the research questions. But at the onset, it looks like a mixed method. But it's important that it should be clear what type of research design the researcher did, because there are certain assumptions here when doing the explanatory sequential design. So it should came from the same data set, the same database, and there are certain assumptions while you are interviewing the 20 participants. So yeah, at the onset, I can say it's a mixed method. But again, probably it's better for the participants to review the research questions and if it's aligned with the assumptions of mixed method. Thank you.
May I explain more? Just clarify that it depending on the interview you conduct to find the data. If you interview with, for example, here 20 participants to support or to modify your research model or questionnaire, it's not the qualitative research. But if you interview with the participant to collect the data, to answer, to test the research model along with the quantitative research, it can be mixed method. But if you just you use the qualitative, it means interview with the participant to support or to modify your questionnaire. For example, scale measurements is just the not totally qualitative research part in the mixed method. So depending on using the data after interview with the participant. That's my point.
Okay, I think it's clear from Dr. Joane and Dr. Nguyen for the explanation. To Budi from UT Indonesia. Now we move to the next question from Adisti, UT Indonesia, to Dr. Joane. If a research study involves the steps, the first step is conducting a small survey to check the survey's validity and reliability. Second, conducting a focus group discussion or FGD to validate the concept. Next, conducting a larger survey with more participants. And last, conducting interview with participants from the survey sample who filled out the questionnaire. Would this be considered a mixed method research approach? Doctor, please.
Yeah, well, again, on the onset, this would look like a mixed method. I'm not sure about how small the survey is, but again, I think it's important to go back to the research questions and the intent of the mixed method research design. As Dr. Nguyen said, it could just be, validating certain data from the quantitative to qualitative, so it might not be a mixed method research. But based on these questions, it could be mixed method research design. But again, I think it's important for Adishi to look at the research questions, the intent of the mixed method. Are they trying to integrate data, connect data, embed data? So those are certain assumptions that are important in mixed research. And again, I would like to caution again on marrying the philosophical assumptions, because the positivists are trying to comprehend or discover the world, while in the qualitative or the interpretivist, these are socially constructed reality. So I think as researchers, important that those philosophical assumptions are very important before we go to the method of doing our research study. Thank you. But maybe Dr. Nguyen can address also the question.
Thank you, Dr. Joane. I think this question is very clear that it to be mixed method research approach because they are, but you need to use both data from the last survey and interviews, both data sets, qualitative and quantitative, the step 3 and 4. So it's very clear that's the mixed method research.
Okay, thank you for the clear explanation from both speakers. Now, next question is from Ibrahim. From Ibrahim, Philippines, to Dr. Nguyen. Dr. Nguyen, I'm noticed at doing research. The example of research interesting, but I need to learn further about it because I don't fully understand about it. I am just wondering, since you have mentioned about it during your presentation, is experimental research a part of mixed method approach? Please, Dr. Nguyen, for your explanation.
Thank you for your question. Again, this question related to the previous question too, because as I mentioned, I discussed with the organization team. I just mentioned my case about the conducting experiments to collect data, to collect the quantitative data. So my case, my lecture about the experiment, just the one method to collect of the quantitative research. So one part of the mixed method, just only the quantitative research only. So for example, if you want to conduct the mixed method in your study at the previous question, for the quantitative research, you can use experiments and then using the interview for the qualitative research, combine together, collect and integrating two data sets, qualitative and quantitative data, into one to report the results. It becomes the mixed method research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your clear answer, Dr. Nguyen. We have to move to another question, maybe. Okay. The question to Dr. Joane from Grace Lee, Open University of Malaysia. May I ask for advice from Dr. Joane? If a questionnaire has many closed-ended questions and only one or two open-ended questions, would this be considered as a quantitative or research mixed method? Dr.
Yeah,
Joane,
so
please.
thank you. I think you are talking about a quantitative method, Grace Lee. Because you can in some of your open-ended, you may be able to get qualitative data, but they cannot be considered as a mixed method. They're not enough to be considered a mixed method. So yeah, definitely if you're doing mixed method, it would be advisable to do surveys and then do interviews or FGD afterwards, and not include them in just in just one questionnaire. And again, let me also get to the point on this is just the methods you're using a questionnaire. You should also take a look at the research design, of course. So in your design, are you intending to do mixed method, or your intent really is to generalize, just like a quantitative method? So on the onset, if you're just doing closed-ended questions with just some open-ended questions, so I would assume this is a quantitative study.
Question to both speakers, Dr. Nguyen and Dr. Joane. For Dr. Joane and Dr. Sinh, thanks for the lecture. So, my colleague and I are planning to conduct a research on language impairment that occurs on children that we teach in our schools. We figure to use open-ended questionnaire that will be aimed for children's parents and self-observation and a tactic. But we will mostly use interview data to describe the data analysis. We are not sure of this considered as mixed method or qualitative research. Could you share your opinion, please? And the second question is, what would happen if a researcher's idea about the type or their research is wrong? So, say he thinks his research is qualitative, but apparently it's a mixed method research, not a qualitative. I can read another question. Maybe you have to answer the first question first. Dr. John or Dr. Saint, please, the time is yours.
Maybe I'll answer first. So with this case, this is clearly a qualitative research because you're doing interview, you're trying to do observation. So meaning you're trying to dig deeper to explain the phenomenon. So if you're doing, for example, a mixed method, there should be some survey or at least an experiment because clearly here you're just doing a qualitative research. But maybe just before Dr. Nguyen answer, just a quick advice to all researchers here. In order to know if it's a quantitative, a qualitative, or a mixed method research, instead of focusing on the method itself, I think it's important to go back to the assumption first of knowledge generation. If it's a quantitative, we talk about an epistemological assumption, wherein we're trying to, we would like to find out the cause and effect. We want to draw a generalization about certain phenomenon. If you're doing qualitative research, you want to do an in-depth explanation of a particular phenomenon. Now, if you want to combine both, then you'll be able to do mixed method research. So just a brief advice to some researchers. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with the Dr. Jones. You answer very clearly already. I move on to the question 2. The research, the type of research is wrong, and then actually in the thesis or the article, research academic article, in the methodology section, you need to mention clearly what kind of research method do you apply. If you state the type of the research is wrong, because the methods guide you how to collect the data later. So if you state wrong type of the research, but you conduct the data collection right, the reviewer or the marker they think you are they don't love to see that. They may ask you to revise. So if you are the the lecturer actually lecture, higher level research. It means researcher need to check, need to advise, seek advice from the supervisor or the your college to check clearly, stay the right type of research in the methodology part. Better rather than just the stay differently with the method you conduct in the data collection techniques. That's my point of view. And Dr. John maybe have a further.
Okay, for the second question, Dr. John, Dr. Nguyen, what would happen if a researcher in idea but the type of their research is wrong? So, say he thinks his research is qualitative, but apparently it's a mixed method research, not qualitative. Would love to hear from both of you's perspective. Thank you.
I think Dr. Nguyen already answered the second question, but as a researcher, especially if it's a quantitative study, it's very clear because you have to pre-plan everything. There are a priori assumptions when you're doing quantitative research. But the good thing with qualitative research, if you're doing it, because I think as a researcher, it's important that it's clear already to you what your research design is and your research questions. Although in qualitative research, it's actually an iterative process. You can actually go back to the research questions and modify it based on the data you have collected. But when it comes to quantitative research, it's very structured already. Because before you go to the field, you should have very clear research questions. Your questionnaires are pre-planned and they have already been pilot tested. So there's no way of being wrong if it's a quantitative research or not. Again, let me just highlight the assumption of research. So I think so that you will not be mistaken, it's important that you know what is it that you want to know, the ways of knowing, knowledge generation. Are you after the generalization of certain phenomenon? Are you after the causal effect? Or are you after the in-depth explanation or the making sense of a phenomenon? And that clearly differentiates between quantitative and qualitative. Now, if you want to bridge the two, meaning you want to do an in-depth or more comprehensive research because you feel that those two research methodologies are not enough, then that's the time you can do a mixed methods research. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think it's a really clear answer to Bayu from Indonesia, from Dr. John and Dr. Nguyen. Thank you very much for your explanation. Now, we move to our participation for Philippines. Name is Aspen Dolan Martinez to Dr. Joane. Are there any software tools you recommended that are particularly usable for analyzing mixed method? Also, how do we ensure the validity and reliability for both qualitative and quantitative data in a mixed method approach? Thank you so much. Dr. Joane, please. Time's yours.
Yeah, thank you. So you can actually use the existing quantitative packages. So for example, statistical packages that are available out there, and they can use, for example, in vivo for doing the qualitative research, because you'll be analyzing them separately, and then before you combine, or if you're doing a convergent type of research. So in terms of analysis, you actually need to do the analysis separately, but while analyzing, you can constantly compare or look at the data if they are somehow parallel or there's a divergent data. Because somehow in presenting the results of these, you should be able to show these are the quantitative and the qualitative, and if they are um, somehow aligned with each other, and if they're not, then you have to do a dig. You have to dig deeper on why there's that divergence in terms of the data. So yeah, you can definitely use the existing statistical software and the qualitative research software that are available there, out there in the market.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. John. I hope Aspen will get the point. Okay, next question to Dr. Nguyen from Hasmi Pasih. Respectfully, and if I'm true, in the example presented by Dr. Nguyen, the data collection approach for experimental factorial research was qualitative. Hence, for any quantitative analysis technique, if we use qualitative approach for data collection, it formulate a mixed method approach. Is it true? Please guide me. So Dr. Nguyen, time is yours. Please.
Again, thank you for your question. In my lecture, I used the case study published already. The title here is Using Experiments and Survey. So experiment here, you need to stimuli. You need to have a stimuli. It means the input to manipulate the participant. In my study in health communication, using the advertisement. So for another research or the contest, maybe you another stimuli, but for our study using the advertisement, and then we manipulate the people in terms of the emotional arousal after viewing the advertising, and then we collect data by using a survey to collect data. So both the techniques that to collect the quantitative data. So this case belong to quantitative research, not qualitative research. That's the key point here. Later I will I agree to provide my slide. In the slide mention my chapter published already on the research method about the case here using experiment. The second part talking about the survey, how to use the questionnaire to collect the data, but to check the another model. For that, for this part, check the model related to case involved in cell control interacting with the referencing and cell the source evaluation source. It means two manipulation and one in the participant characteristics. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's a really, really clear explanation from Dr. Joane Serrano and Dr. Nguyen. Thank you very much. Oh, we have still question to Dr. Joane from Muhammad Rizal from Open University of Malaysia. The question is, you mentioned multiple methods in your presentation. If I'm not wrong, how can you draw similarities and differences between mixed method and multiple method. How can we confirm each method? Thank you, Dr. Nguyen. Dr. John.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Mod Rizal. Yeah. As I'm sorry. As I've mentioned, in the mixed methods research, so you use both the quantitative and qualitative. And I mentioned also that, for example, you use two types of methods in quantitative. So, for example, Dr. Nguyen used experiment and survey. In the literature, they sometimes call it multi-method, but it's under specific traditions, specific methodology, which is still quantitative. So, which means, for example, in a quantitative study, you do two types of methods. For example, a survey and an experiment. Then it sometimes it's referred to as a multi-method in the literature. So in qualitative research, for example, you do both FGD interview and participant observation. So that's actually sometimes referred to as multi-method. So, and I've explained thoroughly what the mixed method research design is. So thank you.
All right, thank you for your answer, Dr. John. Still any question? Oh, the board speaker from Henry Arifin. In what situation or research we can use embed data approach for mixed method? Thank you for Dr. John and Dr. Nguyen. Please.
Okay, so when we do embed design in within a research design within a mixed method research, so it can actually both convergent or sequential. So you usually embed, for example, within a broader quantitative study, you can embed a qualitative research. So the quantitative study can be used to offer, a broader understanding of the research problem, whereas the qualitative study provides a more in-depth understanding of specific parts of the research topics. So embedded mixed method actually allows researchers to uh, put a certain design within a bigger context of a research design. So it's put within a broader context. Qualitative research is put within a smaller context to explain the phenomenon better.
All right, thank you, Dr. John. How about you, Dr. Nguyen? Please.
Actually, I have no further comments. Dr. John already explained very clear. Yet, qualitative research offer insights, and quantitative just the generalize the population into the broader population. So depending on your question, research question, or the research objective, um, but actually nowadays some journal they prefer to qualitative research rather than the quantitative research because the phenomenon is clear. They want it mean in terms of the generalization. Uh, but they want to know deeper insight into phenomena. So some from my view, some journal they change to focus on the qualitative research nowadays. That's my additional.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope Bapak Henry Arifin had got the point for the explanation. All right, we move to next question from Dr. Jahid Majid. From Dr. Jahid Majid to both speakers, to Dr. Jan and Dr. Nguyen. Can we convert quantitative to qualitative or qualitative to quantitative data? Please, Dr. Jan and Dr. Nguyen.
I'm not really sure how to convert both data both ways. But again, the mixed method research would complement the quantitative aspect, the quantitative method, and the qualitative method. Probably Dr. Sahid probably talking about quantitative and then the qualitative to explain deeper what the quantitative figures has found out. But converting, I'm not very sure. Maybe Dr. Nguyen has a different answer.
Actually, I have no idea how to convert the quantitative into qualitative or versa. My expert in the quantitative research only, but I have some insight of the qualitative research. I haven't used the mixed method for my research, but I think it's the in the research question, if you state clearly you want to answer that question, you can choose the quality or quantity research approach depending on the objective. Your objective, just the generalize or the provide the deeper insight to answer your question, depending on the context. But the converse, it means you already conducted the research. You already have the data. It cannot convert the quantitative data into qualitative data. I think so.
Okay. From the chat, from Dr. Jahid Majid from Allama Iqbal Open University. Hello? Okay. All right then. That's the end of all questions. Thank you very much to Dr. Joane Serrano and Dr. Nguyen for all brief explanation. It's very insightful for us to hear. So, Dr. Ahmad, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hidayah. I would like to thank our speakers today, Dr. Joane and Dr. Nguyen Hoang, and also to our moderator, Ms. Hidayah. We have 2 or 3 more questions, but since our time is quite limited, we hope that we can post this question into our YouTube channel, and then to our speakers, if you have time to check our website, our YouTube, and then you are invited to answer the questions. And we hope that all participants who have asked questions, you get the answer thoroughly. And then if you still have questions, please send us to the secretariat, and then we will deliver it to our keynote speakers. Once again, we would like to thank the keynote speaker for today, and I would like to award the certificate, the virtual certificate, to both speakers. The first one, the first certificate is for Dr. Joane Serrano. Dr. Joane, this is your certificate as our token of appreciation. And
Thank you,
signed
Dr.
and
Ramat.
you're most welcome. Signed and sealed by the president of the AAOU. The second one, I would like to present the certificate to Dr. Nguyen Hoang. Once again, thank you very much for your time and then sharing your experience and knowledge. And last but not least, would like to present the certificate to our moderator today, Ms. Hidayah. Thank you very much. Now, before we end our session, I would like to read some important information. The first one is that only about 1 month left until the 37th AAOU Annual Conference start. Paper submission has now been closed, and the conference host committees has been assessing the full paper and other necessary preparation. And then this is a friendly and gentle reminder about the AAOU Commonwealth of Learning Fellowship 2024, where Commonwealth of Learning has agreed to provide sponsorship to delegates from Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Only those who abstract are accepted for presentation can apply for this fellowship. This fellowship covers the registration fee to the conference. I would like to highlight this fellowship covers the registration fee to the conference. For more information, just click the link as you can see on the screen. For those who have not been able to participate in our conference this year, there is another chance. You can get the fellowship through the AAOU Journal, because the selected authors from AAOU Journal will have the privilege to be exempted from the AAOU, from the next AAOU Annual Conference registration fee. And then also I would like to remind the participants about the seminar's feedback form. Yes, this is the feedback. Please complete the feedback. It is this requirement for you to have the e-certificate. And then would like to remind you that you still have time to complete the feedback. And last but not least, for you who are interested to become the moderator of our webinar, please send your CV to the AAOU Secretariat. Check our email on our website. We will be pleased and welcome to all participants who are interested in becoming the moderator for the next AAOU webinar. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our webinar today. I would like to thank the president of the AAOU, Professor Ojat Darajat, M.Pd. I would like also to thank our speakers, Dr. Joane Serrano, and then Dr. Nguyen Hoang, and also to our moderator, Ms. Hidayah. This is the end of our webinar. For the next 2 months, we will postpone our webinar, so there will be no AAOU webinar for the next 2 months in September and October. But we are expecting to meet you all in Allama Iqbal Open University in October during the AAOU conference, the 37th. Thank you very much, and see you in person in Allama Iqbal Open University during the 37th AAOU conference. Goodbye. Have a nice day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you, Dr. Nguyen.